Well, hello everybody. Hey, this is Bob Dickerson with In the Black, back in familiar confines, familiar territory. Last 2 weeks we were out and about. Want to give a shout out and say hello to my friends, Tessa Ward. We were over last week at the in Irondale, and we had a great time with Tessa and her timeless treasures. Timeless treasures. If you want a timeless treasure, you certainly want to go and get one. And before that, we were down there with the I See Me folks, and they are doing a great job educating students and educating kids. So we're happy to be, back in the office. Back in the office, I got a little Uncle Nearest here. Now, I will say this about Uncle Nearest. It is sipping whiskey, because if you have a little bit too much of it, hey Darnell, you don't need to get Darnell. You probably know a little bit about this Uncle Nearest, but it may make you say uncle unless you are very, very careful and very judicious with it. So anyway, hello to the folks. We're back at home. What about them Bucks? Now, I'm going to admit that sometimes very early in the third quarter, I slipped away, meaning I went to sleep. These games come on at 8 o'clock. It's just hard. I'm an early riser, and so by 9, 10 o'clock, it's just hard for me to be still and stay awake at the same time. So I will admit, Marquita told me this morning when I woke up. Now I don't know how she knew, but she told me this morning the Bucks won, because when I went to bed, the Bucks weren't playing that good. Phoenix wasn't playing great either. Both of them were playing like this was the 2 8 seeds playing each other, certainly. But my hat's off to the Bucks. They really did a great job. And I mean, the thing that's so tremendous to me about Giannis and the Bucks is, except for the year that Toronto won it with Kawhi Leonard, the teams that have been winning it all have been the teams with multiple superstars, except the one, with LeBron when he won it last time at Cleveland. But this was a team of Giannis and, some guys. I mean, Giannis and some good basketball players, but no real superstars. Not another real superstar as we would define a superstar on that team. Yet and still, they played well. They played together. They were physical. They were aggressive. They actually played good defense and good enough offense. And a lot of that offense, I guess people were talking to them like, go inside. So when they finally figured out that they could get inside with Giannis, it actually made his outside game. And I think he hit, 15 or 18 or 16 or 18 from the line? All that counting, well, they weren't counting in Milwaukee, but all that counting just probably made him a better free throw shooter. So we're going to see. But anyway, our hats off to the Milwaukee Bucks, NBA champions. First time since 1971 with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Was he still Lou Alcindor then? Somebody let me know in the chat that when Milwaukee won in 1971, had Kareem become Kareem, or was he still Lou Alcindor? Somebody let me know. I can't remember. I'm not going to look it up. But if you know, put it in the chat, and I'm going to make sure that that I pay attention to it. So I want to talk about a couple of things today. Actually, 3 things, 2 of which I spoke about today, but one of which I heard about late last week, early this week. So it seems that the CEO of Marriott has accused Amazon of hurting their business because Amazon pays better wages. Now he dressed it up, and he may not have used the exact same words that I just used, but in essence, that's what he said. He said that they can't get workers because Amazon is paying more. And so I looked it up. First of all, Marriott they only want to have a full staff on the until on the weekends when they're full. So in other words, you could have a job with Marriott and you may not get that many hours because your hours are going to be dictated about by their business. So shame on them for not being more popular. And I know that travel is down and lodging is down, and some of those folks, even the safe harbor businesses like real estate business, and that's a real estate business. So some of the safe harbor businesses are actually now just trying to bounce back from the pandemic, but that's okay. Be that as it may. For a CEO to complain that because another company is paying better wages, that somehow or another I'm going to criticize them. I criticize you for paying my ex-employee more because the way they became my ex-employee is they did better for themselves. No one can begrudge someone for making more money. No one can begrudge me for bidding for talent and outpaying you, outbidding you for the, and nobody can do that. I mean, it's so unfair, and it's just ludicrous to be able to really think about the fact that because Amazon is paying 15, 17 bucks an hour and it's costing maybe somebody who wants to pay you 12 bucks an hour, your employees, that you would be upset, critical of the business that's paying 15, 17 bucks an hour. I'll tell you what's happening. Here's what's happening. People are gravitating toward employers that appreciate them more. And as an employer, you need to make sure that you show your employees the kind of appreciation that a good wage would dictate, that good working conditions would dictate, that benefits would dictate and speak to. You're going to get the folks, and you're going to get them from me, and you're going to get them from Marriott, and you're going to get them from everyone else. And people, all of us have to understand that when people go to work, they are selling their labor to that company. So we all are in the sales game. It just depends. So Marriott's selling hotel rooms, and the folks that work for Marriott are selling their labor to the company that's selling hotel rooms. So even though it's a safe harbor business, it just struck me as really odd and a bit asinine that there will be a complaint from one major corporation, Marriott, about another major corporation, and the complaint is that they're paying too much. I mean, it sounds like the kind of stuff that a leader in an autocratic or perhaps even a socialist or communist country might do, is to set wages or limit wages. Limiting wages obviously is going to limit competition, and it's not what we do in capitalism. So anyway, hey Darnell, I do know that you've started a new business in Orlando, an ice vending business in Orlando. Congratulations, bro. You're doing a great job. And I'm following you. Bobby Marshall, hello, how are you doing out there? Good to see both of you on the feed. So I want to talk about a couple of things. I had a busy day today. Actually got a chance to talk to a group of people that were sponsored by UAB. Now, if you're in Birmingham and I say, or in Alabama and I say UAB, you know exactly what I mean. I mean the University of Alabama, Birmingham. It's a college, it's a hospital, it's the biggest employer in our state. It is the 5,000-pound gorilla, great school, the alma mater of my lovely wife, UAB. So anyway, I got a chance to talk through one of the UAB minority health initiatives. And what we were able to do is to talk to some people who don't necessarily make a lot of money about financial issues. Now, a lot of times financial talk is usually geared toward middle income folks. In the vernacular and the things we tell folks to do, and this whole you know, the emphasis on financial literacy sometimes is misplaced. And we wanted to make sure that people who don't make a lot of money, who may actually be living at or below a poverty level, but they still need financial services, and they still, and maybe more than anyone else, need financial advice. So we were happy to be able to come on and talk to them about, you know, things like banking, and highlight the fact that there are 25% of the folks in this country are either on or underbanked, either on or underbanked. And what that means, though, is that, well, we don't use banks. Our paychecks, we get cashed, and then we go to a check cashing place and they cash the check, and we're getting money orders to pay bills, and doing things like that some of us who work with banks don't do, because now many of us have their recurring bills debited through some ACH from their bank accounts. But the whole idea is that it's important to have a good banking relationship and have a good account. And not only to have a checking account, but also to have a savings account. It's a little bit more difficult to get your money out of a savings account than it is out of a checking account. But whatever account you got to have the responsibility to make sure that you keep up with it, right? Because if you don't, then you find yourself in a position to not enable yourself to have an account. And then we talked about, you know, saving money and how to, you know, put that savings account on some automated system. Hey, Allison, how you doing, darling? Put that savings account on an automated system. You know, Dr. Gaston in his Rules for Success said that a part of all you earn is yours to keep, and pay yourself first. What that meant was, you know, when you get paid, take some off the top and save it. You know, before you even pay bills, take some off the top and pay yourself. We talked to him about the importance of establishing credit. One of the ways to do that, of course, is a credit card. You need to have some credit. Now, I'm not saying you need to be in debt or heavily in debt, but you do need to have some credit so that when you need credit, it's going to be available to you. We talked to him a bit about budgeting, which is something that everybody needs to know, and also how to make sure that we aren't throwing money away. Some of the things that we could do to save money, like, and some of the things we buy that we didn't really have to buy. I use the water as an example, and I know we all buy bottled water, and I'm not knocking it, but, you know, when we buy bottled water, if we go to lunch, you know, if we work in a business, we tend to go to lunch as opposed to bringing our lunch. You know, we do a lot of stuff that we that allows money to creep. Okay, so we got this money creeping from our wallets, and creeping from our accounts, and creeping, you know, from our credit card accounts. Creeping is what we got. So it's very important that, especially if you're a person who doesn't have a lot of money, because a person who's very wealthy, they don't have to worry about it. When a bill comes, they write the check, because there's always money in their account. They're not juggling or struggling or pulling levers or making sure there's enough money here, you know, because there may not be enough money there. So if you got a lot of money, you don't do that. But when you don't, and you have to operate on a budget, then it's important that you know to do so. And so I was really happy that I was able to go over and talk to these folks. Or Gary, how you doing? And let me correct that, not go over. I did it on Zoom, like we're doing everything. And I'll be so glad when we're not doing Zoom, because, you know, this would have been a great group to have in person. So anyway, I just want to give a shout out to Kimberly Spates at UAB, who invited me over. Thank you, Kimberly, for inviting me. Please invite me back. As I mentioned, we are doing the Regions Bank Financial Fundamentals program, and your group would be an excellent group for us to come over, and hopefully actually come over and deliver the Financial Fundamentals program that was created by Regions, that we're doing out of the Birmingham Business Resource Center. We would love to do that. So cheers to you, Kimberly, and cheers to UAB. So I do want to always speak to business owners, and just let me say this: the A.G. Gaston Business Institute directory. Go in, put your business information in. The folks that we featured last couple of times are all participants in our business directory. We want to come and visit with more of you. If you're in our business directory, we want to feature you. We want to promote you. We want people to know who you are. But put your information in there. Put it in there. We are, and I can let you know now, the A.G. Gaston Conference, which is going to take place in February of 2022, will feature this year at Expo. And the businesses that we want exposed in the Expo are the businesses that are part of the A.G. Gaston Business Institute directory. GastonBusinessInstitute.com, GastonBusinessInstitute.com. Put your information in there. So we got a chance to talk to some business owners. And I just want to just highlight some of the things that we were able to say to them, and hopefully they heard and understood. But number one, if you've got a business, then your business and its growth starts with your vision. You know, Stephen Covey in his 7 habits of highly effective people said that you began with an end in mind. So that denotes that you had a vision, you had a plan, you had a place that you wanted to get to. And oftentimes in business and in life, if you don't have a destination in your mind, then number one, you may end up anywhere. But number two, you may not know where you are. And so you've got to cast a vision. It's important to determine what the steps are to reach your goal, to reach your vision. It's also important that you understand and you're able to identify the milestones, the checkpoints. And so, you know, as the kids will say in the car, are we there yet? Well, you need to know when you're there. And probably more importantly, you need to know when you're not there. The other thing that we had to stress to business owners was that there are business plans, and then there's business planning. There are business plans; those are static. You write it down, and there's nothing wrong with it. In Habakkuk in the Bible, it says, "Write the vision and make it plain." So we promote and support the notion of writing business plans. I think that is very important. But then there's business planning. Business planning is strategic. It results in measurable outcomes, and it's valuable. And so business owners who understand the plan's value, and use planning techniques to help to measure and manage are way ahead of the ones that don't. If you understand the value of the plan, and then you use planning tips, techniques, strategies, strategic planning, then you're way ahead. So it's planning, not just plans. As the business grows, your techniques for planning has to grow with it. Plans are roadmaps to determine where you are, but it's more than a mission and vision and value statement, you know, because if you're doing it right, then you're gathering information, you're reviewing your steps, you're making decisions, you're measuring, managing, and monitoring. And those are really important. Now, I mentioned some other things, and I know I'm going to not be very long with the rest of this. Maybe I'll come back and talk more about the rest of it in more detail. But I've said before that nothing happens until somebody sells something. Where customer acquisition is key. You know, I did some quick TikTok videos that talked about gaining and retaining customers. Well, the best way to grow a business is to retain customers while gaining customers. So if every time you get a customer, you let one go, then you're like on a treadmill. You're not going to be getting anywhere. The idea is to retain the customers you have while gaining others. And so, you know, that is the thing that we have to do. And we have to understand how to acquire customers, one, and number two, how to maintain customers. That is very important. None of us work in silos. We all have teams. Even businesses that don't have employees have teams. Your teammates might be your accountant, your advisor, your directors. It may be your vendors, or somebody that you serve, or a customer. So we've got to make sure that we understand that teamwork, it makes the dream work. I know that's a cliche, but it's very true. Nobody makes it out here by themselves. You've got to be connected, and the connectedness, the interconnectedness of all of our efforts are really the things that make sense. Watch your cost, watch your expenses, know what to price your product or service at. Knowing what your costs are will help you determine what your price ought to be. Kind of let that sink in for a minute. I'll have a sip on that one. Knowing what your costs are gives you a better idea of figuring out what your price has to be. Cost of goods, cost of labor, cost of storage, overhead, administrative, all of that has to be accounted for. And hopefully your sales price will allow you to pay those costs and have a profit. So you can't be out here just doing stuff. You got to be strategic and knowledgeable and understand that cost is boss. We've talked a lot about accessing capital. I don't know any small business that doesn't or won't ever need to borrow money. I mentioned earlier, it's good to have credit. It's good to borrow money. Once you successfully borrow money, you're able to do that time and time again. And so you're not always using your money. You're able to make bigger purchases, and you're able to make purchases now, even before the money is available for you. It's important that you know what banks look for. It's important that you know what banks and other lenders look at. That's what we can help you do at the BDRC, and that's what I can help you do. And so if you need help in those areas, then I'm really willing to do that. But also, and very important, I'm going to say this before I get out of here. When you go into business or you go to work, keep in mind what your real objectives are. Great lifestyle, provide for my family, make myself and my family more secure. And in order to continue to do it, especially as a business owner, when you're out here, day in and day out, really grinding to make this happen, that downtime is necessary. Not downsize, downtime is necessary. You have got to refuel, refocus, and re-energize. You cannot spend all of your time just putting it out. At some point, you've got to replenish it. You've got to bring it back in. Now, all of these business owners can't spend every weekend at a retreat in Sedona, Arizona, where you get this mind and body and spiritual awakening, and all that's good. But if you could declutter, if you could decompress, and if you could detach from time to time, that's going to be helpful. It's helpful to take a break from the grind from time to time. I advocate that, and I hope that you will take me up on my suggestion that find a Friday break from time to time. Use that downtime, replenish yourself, and get back out there at it. Hey, this is Bob Dickerson Within the Black. We will see you again next week, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.